Hello. Hello and welcome to Monkey Jam 2023.
Hello.
Oh god, I left the stream on. Hello and welcome to Monkey Jam. Okay. Now, now welcome. Yeah, so I am last minute kind of competing in a game jam that I haven't heard of until yesterday. Monkey Jam 2023. And I'm kind of excited. It's a 72-hour game jam. It started a minute ago. So it just started, and it's going to run until Sunday night at the same time. So 3 days, which is, a day longer than the usual 48 hours. But unfortunately, I also have to go to work tomorrow. I have a lot of stuff to do. So really, I'm just going to take the 48 hours, treat it like a normal game jam. But it's cool. I'm going to get to compete a little bit at a disadvantage, working solo this time, and also only 48 of the 72 hours. And also I'm working on Friday, so it takes a big stress out. But I'm going to be brainstorming tonight. And then once I have that idea, if I can go to sleep tonight with an idea in hand, that'll be really good. I can hit the ground running tomorrow after work, kind of think about it during the day here and there. But yeah. Kind of weird that it's called Monkey Jam. Yes, try not to recreate Tears of the Kingdom. I have to say, immediately was thinking about Tears of the Kingdom. Because I was already thinking of an idea with this climbing game idea, and it kind of has some, I already couldn't help myself from going to Tears of the Kingdom. The idea of grabbing objects. But yeah, I guess first things first, let me just check I'm going to check the Monkey Jam page, because I haven't checked it now that it's live. Yeah, so submissions are now open. It's now live. The theme is monkey, just monkey. And they announced that ahead of time, I guess because it's called Monkey Jam, so they couldn't really keep it a secret. But I'm used to themes being announced at the moment the jam goes live, so I already had some time to think about it beforehand. But hey, monkey, who doesn't like monkeys? Yeah, so I don't see any new info on the page. It just says theme monkey. And I guess the cool thing about, which actually I guess I can pull this over. Maybe I can pull this over to the main. Does it show up? Yes, it does. Yeah, so here's the Monkey Jam page, and it's now open for the next 3 days. Also, I guess right above my head, there's a timer. 72 hours, so that's counting down. When that goes to the end, that should be the end of the jam. Gives a little heads up of how much time is left. But yeah, so the theme is monkey. Rules, they do allow pre-made art assets, although I'm not sure how many of those I'll be using, but I do have a lot of 3D art assets that I can use, and maybe I can find some 2D ones as well. I am primarily a programmer and a designer, but I do have some art skills that I could maybe put to use here. But, if I can find a game that uses pre-made art assets, that would save me a ton of time. And the ratings are the typical ratings. But the cool thing about this jam, and the reason that I'm doing it, is because the top 20 will be played on stream, and the top 5 supposedly get $1,000 each, which makes this very exciting. I'm used to doing lots of game jams that just have no prizes. The one I started to do recently is the GMTK jam, because the top 100 get played, and then the top 20 get put in a YouTube video. Which actually, the most recent GMTK jam, my game got an honorable mention in the video, which was really cool. But I used to think that being in the video was a prize in itself. And now that there's actually a cash prize makes that even cooler. Yes, almost as good as 4 Windows phones. Technically better than, it's like 5 Windows phones right there. $1,000 is 5 Windows phones. Yeah, a little bit of an inside joke. The first game jam that we ever did, we won an award where we got a Windows phone for everyone on the team. Plus, the first place got like 2 Windows phones or something. So then we ended up getting 4 Windows phones. Just crazy. Thanks Microsoft for sponsoring a game jam at my college. But regardless, $1,000 cash prize is really cool. And even just getting top 20, being in the video would be awesome. So yeah, hoping for the best. Monke Jam. So I created this little Miro board and I was going to run through some brainstorming. I guess to start, this is the idea that I was thinking about throughout the day, which I already kind of like. It's got some, some limitations, but I'll just run through the idea. It's very similar to the game DK King of Swing for the GBA. And there was also a sequel on the DS. I'll just do that. The idea is that you grab with your hands, and when you grab, you rotate as Donkey Kong. So it's a very simple game in terms of inputs. You just press a button left or right, and then you rotate. You can use that to climb. And if you grab both, you stop rotating. And whenever you release, you jump in the direction that you're facing. So if you take that very simple concept and put it together with just a bunch of level mechanics, you can make some, just an interesting game. So I'll just jot that down. So grab with your hands, rotate, and launch forward. Yeah, so then cool level mechanics, such as, let's just go, you can I guess just say moving platforms. I cannot type. Moving platforms, you got falling platforms, like rocks. You have bananas. And what else? There's things like wind and maybe a zip line. You can also throw objects. There's a bunch of really cool things like that. Have I ever played Torabash? No, I have not. I've not heard of that. Let me look that up. Oh, yes. The active ragdoll game. I have heard of it because I was very interested in active ragdoll games. And I actually tried making an active ragdoll just in my free time, just on one weekend, to see how it would work. What is an active ragdoll? It's very similar to those games like Gang Beasts and Human Fall Flat, where you have a character that moves with animations, but then they're also physically simulated. So it's trying to pattern match with the animation, but then forces will knock it out of place. And I tried it. I tried following some tutorials and looking up GDC talks on how Gang Beasts and Human Fall Flat do it, and I struggled a lot with it. Yeah, the individual limb controls, a fighting or climbing game. So the individual limb controls in a climbing game, there's a game called Grow Home, and then the sequel, Grow Up. That's one of my favorite procedural animation kind of games, active ragdoll games ever. It's just a game about climbing up as high as you can. You plant trees and then they grow when you climb them. And I've always wanted to make a game like that, but I don't think I could do it in one weekend, especially when there's prizes on the line. So yeah, thinking of going a little bit simpler. Although that being said, I was also brainstorming an idea, or potential ideas of, 3D physics platformer. The idea could be active ragdoll, but might be challenging. So then what else could you do? You could do just general physics swinging. On vines. Oops. So different rope reusing or finding ways to use rope physics, which I have also done in past game jams. Which, by the way, if anybody wants to check out any of the past game jam games that I've made, they're all on this YouTube channel, so you can check it out. I typically make a trailer for every game that I make, and they're also all playable on my itch.io page, so feel free to check them out. One of those games had a character with rope arms, so I got some familiarity with rope physics through that game jam, and could always make use of that again. But yeah, so physics, rope swings. There's also just a lot of like physical comedy. Yeah, lots of physical comedy, which I've done a lot of games that do that physical comedy thing before. Again, that rope arm game had a lot of physical comedy. So there's potential there, but I have also kind of been doing that a lot. I think my last 2 big Game Jam games were comedy, very wordy kinds of games. I guess there's also another thing I wanted to make over here, which is judge notes. And the thing is, this game is going to be judged by, first, an audience. So basically anybody who makes games can play them. Oh, that just scales up the text. Weird. Anybody who makes games in the jam can just play them. But then the actual judge for the top 5 for the cash prize. Oh, it's just, what? The actual judge for the top prize will be Connor, who is a YouTuber who's hosting this jam. So I wanted to make a list of the general kinds of things that he looks for, or like the kinds of things he's into. So he doesn't read, and he doesn't like story. He also likes Jump King, which goes well with the climbing game idea. You know, and generally just like monkey brain. So, you know, likes to bash his head against the wall. Likes games with very satisfying gameplay. But not very big on lore, story, all that stuff. Yeah, I thought it was going to be judged by monkeys. I mean, close enough, you know. But yeah. I wonder how a top-down rope swinging game could work. Honestly, I don't know. Top-down, I mean, obviously side to side is the typical one. In fact, there's lots of mobile games and even a Mario Party game about rope swinging. Where you like grab the vine and then you just have to release at the right time to swing. And grappling hook stuff is always very satisfying, very good. You just grapple onto something and swing. Spider-Man swinging, so swinging stuff is very proven. Top down, you know, you'd have to like judge the distance maybe by the size of the object or the sprite. Yeah, kind of reminds me. There's some like top-down platformers. I forget what they're called. There was one I think on the Dreamcast or something, but it's not something you typically see very often. But there was a good idea, maybe. Yeah. There's another idea that I had, which was a destruction game. So the idea here is we get to use 3D assets, destructibles look very satisfying, but flashy. Is destructibles a word? No, it's not. Yeah, so they look very satisfying and flashy, which could be good for judging. I have experience shattering assets because I have done work on... I did a game jam once where I had destructible assets, so it's pretty easy to shatter them and set them up like that. This is very like monkey-brained, because you just smash things. The downside is there isn't really like a full game, and there's a lot of potential for just like spending a lot of time, you know, wrangling assets. So spending a lot of time getting the 3D assets, slicing them or like shattering them, positioning them in the level, making the level design, and then it's just kind of like you go through and smash things. Because setting up that level and setting up all those things, there's just not a lot of programming. There's not a lot of like unique mechanics there, unless you have to think about it. Maybe there's something there. some kind of fisheye thing lets you see the length from the top. I don't really know what that means. I mean, even just seeing it come closer to the camera and then farther away is kind of already a sense of depth. But yeah. So let me write this down. The delay is rough. Is there a delay? Or am I just slow at responding because I'm not always looking at chat right away? I thought it was pretty quick. It's maybe only 1 or 2 seconds. Oh, maybe when it appears on the chat screen, like on stream, but yeah. 30 seconds. Wait, let me see. Stream settings. It's on low latency mode. I mean, if I set it to ultra low latency, then it'll drop in quality. Maybe I can try that next time, but I don't know. I thought it was faster because when I turned on my stream, it happened immediately. Let me see. Faster because when I turned on my stream, it happened immediately. Yeah, it's pretty fast. Testing, testing. Fast. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. I thought that was pretty quick. But whatever. Yeah, you just have to account for it. 41. Oh, so the message has a delay. Okay, so maybe typing has 10-second delay? I don't know. It seemed like a 1 or 2 second delay just now when I was watching my own stream. But I don't know. Maybe mobile, maybe because I'm on my own computer that's streaming, it's faster. But anyway, this is what I have so far. I'm going to shrink this down a bit. Cool. Oop. Yeah, so I guess going back to the climbing game, because I had been thinking about this a lot. This is currently my top idea. Of course, I'm always open to more ideas. But, so the idea was to make it, turn it into a Jump King style game. Essentially, the paths wrap around. Gameplay of Donkey Kong King of Swing, making it with more physics, oomph, would be satisfying. Yes, exactly. That's what I was going to go for. Having some kind of... Hold on. So you lose progress. Add checkpoints for more casual players. Yeah, so then we do physics. And here we can say, you know, vines have physics. We can do something like zip lines. or even like carts. I don't know how to describe it, but basically like there's an object that you grab onto and it starts sliding down, and then maybe it falls off of a track and lands on another track and slides in the opposite direction, things like that. You can make puzzles where you have to jump off of the thing. So if you hold it too long, it'll drag you backwards, but if you jump off at the right time, that's what you have to do to advance. And of course, if you fall, eventually the thing resets itself. So you always climb back up and keep going. Have you played Windjammers? I have not. Is that the Frisbee game? Like Frisbee sports game? Oh, it is. I think. Head to head on a court, throw discs at each other. Score points. Yeah. So. Is there anything good in Windjammers? Windjammers? It's worth looking at. Yeah, so physics, we have vines. You can have zip lines, and then you jump early. Basically, Pong with catching, physics, oomph, because there's projectiles. Move faster if you counter throw, and it's really satisfying. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. But I don't really have time to play it now. But yeah, I mean, the idea of like you grab it just the right time. Longer hold delay, the faster it's moving, you catch it. Yeah, so I don't really know what the hold delay is, but I guess applying to this concept, like just feeling really snappy when you grab. Vines to swing, zip lines, yeah, falling platforms, or falling objects, or even just like slides of some kind. Like grab a box and you have to slide it. Oh, you can also grab and throw like I guess a grappling hook, but not really like the gun kind of grappling hook, but like the actual old ninja grappling hook where you throw the hook up and then you climb the walls. So grab and throw objects like rope anchors. So the idea is like maybe there's an anchor on the ground or wedged in a tree and you grab it and you cycle around and toss it. And then that creates a rope that you can then jump onto and grab. Puzzle mechanics like that. So what about like art requirements? Benefits here are that it's 2D. So it's and it doesn't really require that many animations, if any. So we need lots of backgrounds, but we can do some kind of like simple vector. Or maybe find some pre-made. I don't know if there's any available sites with like good pre-made backgrounds, but it would be nice if it parallaxed. I don't know if that's a word, parallaxed. Close enough. Clips of people being bad. Yeah, that happens. Cool. While you explain, I want to pull up some art of, because as I was thinking, like, man, how am I going to make backgrounds for this game? Not just this idea, but even any of them. Because typically when I make games that use pre-made, that allow pre-made art assets, I make them 3D and I use 3D environment assets. But to make a 2D game, it's a little bit different. And it would kind of stand out and look ugly if it, you know, had 3D randomly. But then I realized, like, the Donkey Kong games had this really cool level mechanic, or a certain type of level where it had these 2D vector art, like monocolor kinds of backgrounds. And it was like the silhouette levels from Donkey Kong Country Returns. Let me look that up. Silhouette levels. How do you spell silhouette? Yes, there we go. Pull this up on the other monitor. Or even just copy some of these pictures. Something like this. And I mean, obviously, if you look at the background, it's very simple. It's just circles. The extra flourishes of the trees are nice, but even this is just a triangle with a triangle taken out of it. And, you know, it looks awesome with the palm tree and the coconuts, but if I just made it a vector graphic, it'd be pretty simple. They got the parallaxing, so you have some foreground, some background, simple shapes. Actually, this is just fan art. I just realized someone else's fan art. It's not even real. This is a real one. Which, you know, it looks nicer, obviously more detail in the trees and the leaves, but still very simple shapes. I could etch this out in Photoshop, do it pretty quickly. I'm not the best 2D artist, so, you know, any cost savings I can do will help. This looks really bad. It's running like a CRT or something. And what's cool is, I guess this is from Tropical Freeze, so it looks a lot nicer because it's Tropical Freeze, but they start to go in different color directions. You can just have easily tinted color profiles. I don't have to make different textures. I can just use post-processing to change them. Or theoretically, you know, I could make something like make the assets in different colors. But, you know, the foreground is always a dark version of the color, and then the background has the brighter colors. Find some more examples. Taking a look. Oh, even like the loading screens had some of this. It's just, you know, very striking colors. It's pretty simple to do. So, yeah. Something worth looking at. Okay. What are we saying? It's like in Smash when you're using the baseball bat, if you do a quick hit with it, yeah, it's fast and it's instant, but when you charge, there's a longer delay between the hit and the launch, depending on the strength of the impact. Right, so if you hold it for a long time and time it perfectly, then it has a really satisfying impact. Cool. Yeah, I feel like I'd have to see it in motion to truly understand, but yeah, I mean, I get the bat analogy. That's kind of my art mood board down there. Gameplay of King of Swing seems kind of floaty. Yeah, I mean, I can make it however I want. It doesn't have to be floaty. My thought was, in terms of Jump King games, I think the success of Jump King is there's one really simple and satisfying mechanic, and then it scales in difficulty with interesting level mechanics. And there's a lot of games that try to do like the Jump King stuff, but the actual movement mechanics don't end up feeling satisfying, or they're, you know, it's just poorly implemented or whatever. But what makes Jump King so great is just very simple, and the fact that you hold the jump button for the exact precise amount of time and then jump is, you know, it has some mastery, it has some muscle memory. So what's cool about this, what do you say? I bet that could be improved with dynamic swing punchiness. Maybe. So like you choose, yeah, you could maybe have buttons to like speed up your swing to launch higher or launch more precisely. Or, yeah, I guess just launch higher. Launch in the direction faster. And maybe there's some parts of the game where you have to do that or something. I'll add a section for mechanics. So I'll move this down. Yeah, so anyway, what I was saying with Jump King, right? I think the game it's a good formula. It's very simple, but it requires there to be a really satisfying core mechanic, and then the rest is kind of built around that. So I think this kind of has potential, this King of Swing idea. Because when I played the game, that swinging was a very satisfying mechanic. Just being able to like grab something and jump and swing, and there's a lot of potential for the extra level mechanics as well to make it hard. So building that around this mechanic that I think is a very core, like a very just base level satisfying mechanic of swinging would be fun. Spin on one hand. If you time a button press, it speeds up your spin each time. So you spin in place, mega charge for a huge swing up. That could be, yeah. Yeah, there needs to be a balance of making it easy for players who aren't as good, but also satisfying the people who like Jump King and want a really challenging game. So part of that is just adding checkpoints, like an option you can toggle on for checkpoints. But the reason that King of Swing is so floaty is because it's a casual Nintendo game on the Game Boy Advanced. And so you could just, young people are going to be playing the game and they don't want to become frustrated. So it gives you a lot of time in the air, the floatiness, so that you have time to grab onto the things you need. So part of making this into a Jump King game also is like, how much leeway do you want in the air? If you jump, if you like launch off of a platform, should you be able to control yourself slightly in the air, move back and forth? Because we could just be very unforgiving and say, nope, you just jump and that's it. And you can fall and die, or not fall and die, but fall and lose your progress and have to climb back up. Or you can move yourself in the air and then grab. I think would be more satisfying, but it takes away from the Jump King a little bit. So part of that's just kind of tweaking as I go. Like a swinging rhythm game. Yeah, I mean, even Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze has that one level where you're kind of like, all the things in the environment are moving to the music and you have to jump. That's a really cool one. I am obviously not making music for this game with all the other stuff I have to do, making the art, making the programming and the design and everything. So making custom music and expecting it to be a rhythm game, probably not going to happen. But I do see what you mean, like you swing and you press and press and press to go faster. You almost have to like time your presses. Just kind of reading over everything here. Let's see. So, I mean, I'm obviously leaning towards the climbing game. I thought of all three of these between yesterday and today, just kind of casually thinking about it. And my issues with the 3D one, if I go with like a physical comedy kind of game, like I even had one where you just had like, there's a monkey companion that just messes with you. Or like you're walking around in a space and there's AI monkeys that are around, and they interact with you. So they like steal your keys or like pull things out of the way. But I realize it's very similar to games that I've made in the past. In fact, most of the GM2K Game Jam games I've made were comedy games where you got messed with by the mechanics. So I didn't really like the idea of the monkey, like a monkey jam where you're not playing as the monkey, but there's just a bunch of monkeys around that are just screwing with you. Seemed really funny, but it's a little much. The climbing game's growing on you. Nice, nice. Yeah, I think the core mechanic from King of Swing is so fun, and that game, while it was like decent, was just a Nintendo game. And I mean, I only played the sequel. I didn't play the GBA game. The sequel had a lot of really great ideas, but also was just hamstrung by the fact that it had to be like a full Nintendo game with a bunch of like expected Nintendo mechanics. But if you take that core mechanic of the swinging that is really fun, and then you just like actually add modern mechanics, modern physics, and cool stuff like that, then I think there's potential. Yeah, so in terms of the platformer, that's that. And then the destruction game, again, it's just not that fun to make. There aren't really core mechanics. The other thing is, last time I did a game jam, I also streamed the whole thing on YouTube, so it's on this channel. You can check it out. But I worked 35 of the 48 hours, which was insane. I stayed up like all night. When I finished, I had been awake for 28 hours straight. And I told myself, next time I'm going to go for a simpler game. Like, I'm going to make it simple because I don't want to just kill myself doing this. And the climbing game is pretty simple. Like the core mechanic, I could probably get done in a couple hours. And then from there, it's just building level mechanics, designing good levels, and making some art. So, you know, and it scales very well. If I can't make some level mechanics, I could just scrunch the level down, make it shorter. You know, the only risk is that the art just doesn't look as good, or I can't make it work super well. But yeah. You say no music in a game jam. I mean, I'll have music. It'll just be free music that I got, or not free, but commercially available music that I got from a Humble Bundle. I bought many Humble Bundles, and I have many ambient music sound packs and 3D art assets and stuff. Actually, I wonder if I have any 2D art assets from Humble Bundle. Probably wouldn't have saved them, because I only have a 3D assets folder, so I'd have to look through my browser. Like I bookmark all my Humble Bundles. Check real quick. Let's see. I got a Humble Bundles folder. Nothing immediately jumps out. Have music, multiple music folders, or bundles. I think that might be it. Okay. A couple musics. So we've got ambient horror, music loop, triumphant orchestra. Then I got, oh, that's not even anything. And then I have dark side, haunted, some dark stuff. Basically all dark fantasy. So some generic kind of music and dark fantasy and orchestra stuff. Orchestral might work, because I don't usually make games that are ambient, that are like, look super stylized. I typically make kind of goofy, funny, Nintendo-y kind of games. So, you know, if I made it a little bit more like, you know, like this with the silhouettes, maybe an orchestral That track will be good. Cool. But yeah, climbing game is growing on me as well. I mean, it's been about 40 minutes. So I mean, that's not that much time of like brainstorming ideas. I have plenty of time. So maybe I'll try exploring some more. Just like go in some new directions. If you have any ideas, feel free to pitch. Move some of this. Oh, maybe I'll just put this. Why won't this move? There we go. Actually, can I even, oops, copy this whole category? Oh, I can. Cool. And then it glitches out. Whatever. So what other monkey ideas? Yeah, I did. When I first started thinking of this, I was thinking of the idea of like monkey see, monkey do. Be neat if, like, what if there was a way? That's ugly. Where you could like, your actions are mirrored by a monkey. Like, what kind of game does that create? Maybe because you could do some kind of animation matching, like you have your actions that you're doing on your character, and then there's a monkey somewhere else that's doing literally your same actions, and you have to, so like you have all this open space that you're doing, but then the monkey is copying you, and maybe you have to like walk in a specific way. If it's like top down, you walk through a specific path, and then the monkey will follow your path, so you guide the monkey through some space. Maybe there's a way to like, the monkey will copy you, but on a delay. So if you, you go through the space and then like the monkey's locked behind a gate, but then you press the button to open the gate and then the monkey goes through in the same way that you did, but on a delay. That could be good. Or like if there were enemies or something and they were attacking you, then you would have to dodge the enemies, but the monkey's also moving. So if you like walk to a spot where the monkey would be off a ledge, he'll jump off the ledge and die, and then you lose. So you have to dodge the enemy attacks, but only in a way that the monkey is safe to do so. Be interesting. I'll just... move in space. I guess move in open space, monkey, or to guide a monkey through a maze. Then you could, what was it? Move, and then, yeah, dodge enemies, but make sure monkey doesn't fall. So that could be good. You know, you could do a side view game or like a 2D platformer where maybe you could use the monkey as a platform. No, you can use it to move items closer to you. So for example, like maybe you can, you get the monkey on the other side of the room and you walk to the left, and then the monkey also walks to the left and it pushes a box. And then when you walk to the right, the monkey moves back to the right, and now you can like jump on that box to get up or something. So build levels around the monkey pushing boxes. Yeah. There's a way to like, you walk into a wall, you keep walking to the right, the monkey keeps walking right, but it's stuck against the wall. You can jump on the monkey's head and then jump up a platform, maybe. Although, I guess the monkey would also jump. So you wouldn't really be able to jump on its head. Maybe there's like sticky stuff on the ground, so the monkey can't jump because it's standing in glue. Maybe the monkey jumps higher than you, so you can use that to desync the jumps maybe. So you jump, monkey jumps higher, you hit the ground, then you jump again, the monkey hits the ground, you land on top of the monkey before it jumps again. That could be good. There's a lot of level mechanics you can do with the 2D platformer. It's not necessarily interesting from a core mechanics perspective. It's really just, you know, basic 2D platformer with some interesting little gimmick, but in my opinion, not as interesting as the climbing game, but there's still some potential there. I mean, also in terms of destruction game, maybe there's like an alternate version where you just go crazy in the forest and just like fight a bunch of animals and things. So some kind of physics brawler, not necessarily like physics brawler, but game very focused on ragdolls. So you're just running through the forest and just hitting things, and they're flying with their ragdolls, knocking over trees, whatever. That kind of goes to the destruction, but not so much with like shattering objects. Kind of like physicsy in a space. So that could be interesting. I mean, you could also just have like swinging, typical, like the other platformer mechanics there as well. Ape Out? Yeah, I have seen Ape Out. That's another game that has the like silhouette look. But yeah, that, but in 3D. Yeah, pretty similar, yeah. You're a crazy monkey running through the forest, punching stuff. I mean, it could honestly be people as well. Could even be like the city. Fight a bunch of animals or people. So you just like hit some people and they ragdoll as well. You get a bunch of like generic character models. Yeah. I again don't know what the game is unless they just like shoot at you or something. And then you just have to dodge the bullets, and but that's pretty much just Ape Out at that point. And if it's just like run from start to finish, basically like through a guided tour, you know, the level is laid out in such a way that it's just a level you're going through. Maybe you start out fighting a bunch of enemies and then you're around the corners and they're shooting at you. And eventually like a helicopter is flying down from above or something. Maybe there's some kind of throwing mechanic. So you can throw stuff up at the helicopter. Maybe there's like a little stealth section where you can go like underneath if you want. But a lot of that's just kind of 3D level design, which could be good. So yeah. Enemies can shoot at you. Some kind of throw mechanic. Or instead of that, just say stealth options. Seems too out of scope. Yeah, it could be. I mean, I'm comparing it to the other game I made, Out of Hand. I go here. This game. So yeah, this game I had a section where characters would shoot at you. The challenging part of this game was making the arms work and programming all that. So just having a little monkey guy that runs around and has like a quick shove or a punch move wouldn't be too hard. Making a comprehensive, interesting level, maybe. The trailer was legendary. Well, thank you. I think it was just that one joke where you push a guy off a bridge. That's the funny part. But yeah, so I could do something like this. And in fact, I could even take some of the dialogue stuff that I already have in the character controller. Yeah. But is it really that compelling of a game? I mean, with some shattering, maybe. You can, like, punch things and then they go flying with ragdolls and they smack into objects and it shatters. That could be good. Maybe people shooting their guns, like, in the vicinity. Those stray bullets can hit objects and shatter as well, so kind of just add some visual spectacle to things. Yeah. Although Ape Out was good, I guess, because it just had so much variety. And a thing that game jams don't have is variety. So making it pretty simple, like you just have a shove move and that's pretty much it. Would have to be pretty simple. I guess the benefit of that is I can mostly do use 3D environment assets that I have from Humble Bundles. I don't have to make that much on my own, although I'd have to make the monkey model, the main character. And then maybe some basic animations or poses for pushing and stuff. Some kind of a punch. I can check Mixamo real quick and see what I have available. Wait, Mixamo? Let's see. Log in. I just want to see what, in general, what kind of things do I have available here? Okay, so just random stuff. Let's see, like a punch. Some pretty, I mean, that's just like too serious. It'd be cool, like, this is where the physicsy element, like of an active ragdoll kind of game would work better. Because these are too polished and serious. It's not something that like a monkey would be doing. Maybe I could even just use, what's it called? Just, I guess, IK forward and then, or even just throw the punch, like just use force to pull the punch forward. But you would need an active ragdoll for that to work. So, animations. Also don't really know how unique that is. I mean, King of Swing is like Obviously, it's a game that already exists, but it's a very old game, and I haven't seen the mechanic used very much since. And not many people have even really heard of it, because it is a little obscure. Whereas just going through a city and punching things without the ragdoll mechanics or active ragdoll stuff is probably not as fun. And there's a lot of those active ragdoll games that are coming out recently anyway. Party Animals, Gang Beasts, and Human Fall Flat. Yes, I could think of just random other ideas. Still kind of leaning towards the climbing game. I mean, the three main ones here are the climbing, destruction with that new idea, and then maybe this 2D platformer idea. Yeah, this is what I have so far. In terms of art requirements for this, do need some kind of character. I was also thinking if I went the silhouette route, it'd be nice, you know, the way that these characters have the red. But what if I went a step further and that grabbable items, grabbable objects were a specific color? Maybe that was indicated somehow through the environment. So what I mean is like things that you can grab onto. If there's a green in the background and that's you're in a green section, you'd have a desaturated green in the background, darker, and then you'd have a very bright saturated green in the foreground. And that green would be, it would indicate things you can grab onto. I don't know how that works, how that would always work. If I wanted to have things like bananas, it makes sense for those to be yellow, really stand out. But if there was also a yellow level, maybe I could just avoid having a yellow level. But yeah, taking the silhouetted approach and then really dialing in on like what are the key elements, which would be the character, the things you have to grab, really making those pop in the foreground. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll list out the steps of what I would need to do for each of these. Had another idea. Your tail is long and sticks out of the back. If you grab on with your tail, it spins you extra fast. Hard to land with extra payoff. So is there like a third button for the tail? That could be interesting because I just have swing on here. Both buttons at the same time. Yeah, in the original game, both buttons was just if you you grab with both buttons, you just grab with both hands, really. Yeah, like the 2-button version. Yeah, I mean, you could do both. If you did both at the same time and neither grabbed something, then your tail would grab or something. Just be simple. Do something like that. It really kind of acts as like a safety. Like if you overshoot, then you grab with your tail. But then it makes your next jump harder. So it's like you kind of, it's like a safety net. But then it's like your last chance of survival, but it's also a high risk. Like it's really difficult to actually make use of that tail. Like you have to time your next jump or else you're really going to lose it. So that could be good. So it does require some kind of visual with the tail. Like at least without, if you don't have to worry about that in terms of the visuals, you can make it, that's kind of just a decoration, right? And if you have the tail now, is it like swinging in the back or is it just sticking out straight? Does that look weird if the entire game is played with this tail kind of sticking out straight? A little bit tricky. But yeah, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to make a section for like implementation steps and some like tech design. Just to go through some thoughts. Some early, oops. I have to keep scrolling up to do the bullets. Oh no, I can just do it here. Okay. Yeah, just to help. Can I not drag? Yeah, just to help with some of the planning, see if it's like how in scope are the different ideas, comparing them. So here would be list out all mechanics and systems. And then, design rough level layout. Implementing the character mover. That includes the grabbing and the moving, the rotating, jumping, all that. Yeah, then probably like design a basic character. Or even before that. Maybe. Prove out the backgrounds, like is it functional? Design the basic character. You can implement the level mechanics. And then make the rest of the game. Cool. And then tech design. So we've got, man, this is just not agreeing with me. Tech design. So we got like, background parallax. We got maybe like a foreground. Camera system, which I was thinking of that as well in terms of level mechanics or level systems. Do blocked camera section. So the idea is you can have a section where normally the camera just follows the character as it moves, but then you enter this one section and the camera zooms out and shows the whole section, and you have to go through it like a little bit of a puzzle. And then once you reach the end, then it zooms back in on you. So having a camera system that allows it to dynamically move like that would be nice. Also in here, somewhere in here is, sound effects, ambient audio, music, with effects. So things like low pass filters and whatnot be nice to have. Yeah, I think if I can nail an art style and really get the ambience in, like it could end up being a really ambient, satisfying kind of game. Let's just do audio system. Okay, there's a lot here. Just gotta keep scaling this background. Orchestral music that changes tempo based on the speed of your swings. Trying to imagine. It's hard to when I'm actively listening to music, orchestral music right now. But yeah, that could be good. I'm trying to think. Yeah, if we had that mechanic where you could time your button presses to swing faster, you could speed it up. But then it would kind of just slow back down again once you grab something, unless the mechanic just kept you swinging at that speed that you were. But maybe that's fine. I'll have to see what music I have available, because to make my own is obviously impossible. But if I have some good stuff, maybe find some online as well. I know there's a lot of Creative Commons music out there. Check some of the mood boards up here. Let's see. Maybe add some more details to the character mover. Yeah, so we want to use velocities. Because we need it to interface, with physics. So then we also want to try to use joints to attach physics objects. Something like that. I don't know how well rotating works. Like if you rotate a 2D sprite, if you grabbed something and then rotated and let go, would it properly, if you grabbed using a joint, would you properly be able to release it using the built-in Unity physics? I guess we'll find out. That's some experimentation that's needed. Yeah, okay. Maybe there's no ground movement, but something to explore. Curious what the controls would even be. You could do left and right mouse button, or you could do QE or AD. You wouldn't need much else. It's really just two buttons, I think. Yeah. Let's see. Background. Camera, audio. Yeah, we'd need a just game state flow. And we need mechanic or level mechanic reset. Checkpoints. Speedrun timer. It's pretty important. could do some Googling real quick. Oh god, so much on screen. Yeah. Speedrun timer is the most important. Maybe for you. No, but yeah, that is pretty important. It'd be cool if I maybe took the time to do a leaderboard. I know there's just one website that everybody uses for leaderboards that some really awesome guy made for the sake of game jams. He just put it up and said, just send, like, you can register a leaderboard and then send us web requests, and then we'll just put the scores on the leaderboard and sort, and you can set timers and do resets and weekly runs and whatever. Yeah, I forget what it's called, but I actually, one weekend, I see people in game jams do it all the time. And sounds like you in an alternate timeline. Yeah. There's lots of speedrunners out there who love just making, I mean, this is more, it's less for speedrunners, but it's more for score. But, like in an arcade game or something. But actually, one weekend, I explored it. I just looked into it because I wanted to see if I could use it. And I just made a little dummy project. And it was pretty easy to set up. And I actually just made a script to do it. And that I could just drag and drop into my future projects. So I have that. Maybe I could just drag and drop it here and maybe set that up. The problem with it is that because everybody uses it and it's not the most secure thing, like you can obviously just fake your times and send the same web request and basically like hack the thing. But whatever, it's just a game jam. It's not like, I mean, even Steam's leaderboards are hacked like every day, so whatever. That'd be cool. And in terms of like, it's built for arcades and scores, but you can just send your time in seconds. And time in seconds is essentially like your score. So, and then you just sort lowest to highest instead of highest to lowest. I'll have to find what the name of that site is. I can look later if I actually get that far. But I can make a note of that. Depends on how much I want to make the game fun versus spending time making a leaderboard that maybe nobody will ever see. Yeah, I just wanted to try Googling something super quick. Get this up and I'll go over here. Let me just search. I want to see Unity 2D joints. I just want to see how versatile the joint system is in Unity 2D. As the celebratory Donkey Kong music plays. So we've got distance joints. Keep them a certain distance apart. Probably not what I want. I think I want a fixed joint. Relative. Two objects in a position relative to each other. Yeah, they act as if they're rigidly connected. Makes sense. Oh, you can make sliding doors. So I could probably... I'd probably rather just make the object just slide. I don't know. That could be a useful mechanic, though. They do have wheel joints. Some kind of a spring object. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd probably just mostly use the fixed joint. And then the idea would be you fix your hands to an object, and then that object has physics. So theoretically, it would get launched and you'd be on it. Something like that. And theoretically, if you grab two objects and they separate, you can break your joints and you can drop. Okay, so that's good. Now I just wanted to look up Unity 2D rotate. And there's just a rotation value. But if I set the rotation, it doesn't... yeah, that's just like the rotation. I mean, I could probably just rotate it around its point, but like rotate around the hand that's gripped. But I'm wondering, like, does there have to be physics involved? Like, if you bump into an object, probably not. I don't think the body should interact with physics objects so much. It's more the hands that interact with them. So you grab things in the environment. You can grab a rock and throw it, but there's a move rotation function. Rotates the rigid body to an angle. Oh, so it just has an angle. So it's not around a point or an axis or anything. And it is physically simulated. I mean, that could be more useful for the level mechanics, I guess. You could have a rotating something, a wheel, like anything really, a gear. And then when you grab it and you joint to it, well, I guess it doesn't even really matter because that would have to be physically simulated. So if the wheel was somehow like hitting other objects, but that's probably not going to happen in this game so much. Okay, so I don't think I have to worry so much about the rotation. Although, let me see. Wait, what? My screen just went black. Oh, I see. That's funny. Yeah, I'll fix it in a second. It says move position, move rotation. So you almost have to move it to the origin and then rotate it. Something like that. Okay, I'll have to experiment with that, but it seems to be more challenging than people realize to, I don't know. It seemed like there was some difficulty people were having to make a sprite rotate around something that wasn't its origin. So I'll have to look at that. But I am using joints on the hands, so maybe it doesn't affect me. Maybe it's possible to rotate around the joint like that. But I don't know. I'll have to look. Future problem. think that covers most of everything, other than obviously the individual level mechanics. Which I should maybe put here. If I'm prioritizing these, camera system goes above. Something like that. Yeah, I don't know if I need some kind of a... Well, maybe not. I know Jump King has... Like, the camera doesn't follow you. You can jump off the top of the screen. And, I mean, I could do something like that, where you make leap of faiths into the screen, but that's probably not... That's not friendly. You have to, like, exit the screen. So we can have clever camera system tricks, where you stay... The camera follows you as you move around. But if you have to, you can enter sections where the camera will stay locked. You can do whatever you want. And if you exit that section, then the camera follows you again. Potentially that could be used to, if you fall, like unloading parts of the level that are off screen. If there's an issue with too much memory, loading lots of large parallaxing backgrounds, that could be an optimization. There's definitely an optimization that, you know, like games like Jump King have. They can have basically infinitely scaling levels because they can potentially unload the background assets for parts of the level that you are far away from. But hopefully I don't have to worry about that for a game jam. But yeah, I mean, I think that covers most of the tech and general steps. I mean, there's some stuff missing. Obviously, lots of level design and mechanics, playing with the different level mechanics, coming up with cool puzzles. The core mechanics could use some iteration. There's some good ideas here, but question of how much do they add? What kind of complexity? Vector stock, royalty free? Let me check this out. Vector Monkey. To just not be blatantly Donkey Kong, you mean? Yeah. I mean, I would like a tail. That'd be cool. Because it is a monkey, not a... Whatever Donkey Kong is. A gorilla. Silverback gorilla or something. Oh, I'm not even showing this on screen. One sec. Yeah, so this was the monkey. So it's, I mean, I wouldn't be exactly this or anything, but something more lanky, potentially. I mean, it should probably have bigger arms regardless. It would need to have something like, the hands still have to be in front because that's where it's grabbing things. You know, in front and sort of to the left and to the right. That mechanic is still kind of important. But having the tail, it'd be cool if the tail was just a sprite that was attached to it and then it would swing around. So you could have, you know, it's just an extra effect. As you're grabbing things, the tail's kind of flopping around and swinging. Would look cool. That's kind of just an extra nice flourish. Both sets of limbs as well. as the tail being separate sprites. Both sets of limbs and the tail being separate sprites. Yeah, I wasn't thinking of the front limbs as being separate. But maybe. The idea is just that they're locked, and that's your control is just the hinge, like your whole front body. If I can draw, I think I can draw on this. Yeah, I was going to draw out an example as well. Let's see. Orange. Cool. Okay, so the idea being you have like a hand. Maybe here. Monkey head. And so, yeah, you've got the arms. Basically, this is one kind of joint. So as this rotates, I wonder if I can actually even rotate them. What the? No. That's cool. Yeah, I don't know how to rotate this thing, but point is, this whole image can rotate. That part is all fixed and locked. And then you have the extra flourish of just like... I think this is how the sprites even worked in the Donkey Kong game. Basically, he's got like tiny legs. Like feet or whatever. And then... So this can flop from side to side. And then... Could be some kind of a tail. So that would be a separate sprite as well. So that can just kind of flop with physics. Maybe even this is multiple joints. So it flops back and forth with physics. Secondary motion. Your drawing. Red X's joints. So you think like the head and the body. So as these move. I mean, sort of, but for me, the head is like attached to the arms. That's pretty much the King of Swing sprite, though. Let me pull that up. DK King of Swing sprites. I'm trying to... Yeah, hold on. I thought I remembered there being secondary motion on the legs, but looking at the sprites, I don't... Oh, these, I guess, maybe? Oh, yeah. So there's just like a grab on one side, then both, and then the legs are detached, so they have a separate swing based on physics. Although, my version would probably just have like the butt, and then the legs would be a separate joint, so as you're actually swinging, they'd kind of flop. I thought. 3 dynamic parts. Um, right. So this has like one, I mean, the legs change, but they don't really flop with physics. It's probably just like, if rotating right, do this sprite. If rotating left, do that. For mine, if I go with a silhouetted approach, if you can't really make all the details, it kind of looks nice if they have a little bit more flop to them. I could even make the legs a bit longer, maybe. Wait, let me look at the Donkey Kong sprites again. I think one of the benefits is like the character is a circle. I think this was about the ratio, like the aspect ratio. Be a little bit more vertical. Okay, have it so the hand and foot on each side move towards each other when rotating in that direction. I see what you mean. These two get dragged together. I mean, the way it works. Oops. I think they just have this becomes a grip. I change this. So like this goes from open to gripped, and then the legs are just kind of flopping. And I don't really want to move that if that's a joint. I mean, we're getting into minor details, but if this is the joint when you grab, depends. Like if it has to move, then where is the joint? Is the joint also moving? It's a little bit of a question. But otherwise, makes sense. But the point of drawing this, I think it kind of makes sense if it's like a circle. If you have a circle, if the character roughly fits within a circle, then you're kind of rotating. I guess either way, I mean, if you do a full rotation, your legs would swing back around. I still think it's a little awkward if it's too lanky, so if the legs are too long, but you know, they can be about that. I don't think, do monkeys have long legs anyway? I'm gonna search for monkey pictures. Oh, monkeys, yeah, they do have long legs. It's the chimps that have short legs. No. Maybe it's just Diddy Kong. Just Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong have short legs. Okay, well, still kind of wanted to have short legs because, I mean, even, I guess, looking at monkey clip art, they have short legs. People tend to draw them because they're typically seen with, like, I guess their legs scrunched up when they're sitting. Oh well. Gorillas have short legs. I guess. I mean, their legs are about as long as their arms. Well, regardless. Character design things. I do have to do a proof of concept on the silhouetted art style. There's potential there to take up a lot of time. Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling this more than the other ones. I think there's some potential here, but I don't know. I feel like there's just a little bit more potential with the climbing idea. Goes in well with the jump king. Maybe these are too puzzly. So interesting ideas, but maybe doesn't have like great potential for winning a game jam like this. And this, I think, has a lot of potential, but it also kind of falls in that space of comedy, slapstick kind of game, which is very similar to stuff I've already done. And you know, I kind of like the idea of trying to make a 2D game, which I haven't really done too often. So, yeah, leaning more towards this still. The silhouette part is easy. Parallax layering will take a while. I don't know. I mean, yes, it's easy to just make some very quick vector art. Like this shape you could make in like 10 minutes, less. Make some triangles or whatever. But making it look unique, like obviously just doing this is fine, but to actually like make a bunch of assets that look cool and look unique is potential to take a long time. And then making them look nice. Also the idea that like, maybe I should write that down as tech here. Oh no. Okay. Let's see. Under backgrounds, let's do is it post-processing? Be nice if I could make the backgrounds a certain color, and then as you move, it goes through a post-processing where it dynamically changes the color. So I could just make assets and place them, and they're essentially like black, white, and gray. And then in the post-processing, I somehow change the color. I'm not exactly sure how to do that. Okay. I would have to draw some level design mockups, but yeah, all in all, I think it's a pretty good plan. Yeah, let me just check some things. Okay. So I guess now what I'll do is start listing out some of these level mechanics and go into more detail on them. Ugh, I always lose my cursor because it's the same color as the background. Let's see. So moving platforms is kind of obvious. Actually, you know what I should do? I should do these as sticky notes. What? Come on. Okay. Yeah, so we got... yeah, falling platforms. Got the bananas. We can get wind. Yeah, ropes. Don't need physics? You mean just like swimming back and forth? Like on a set path? Yeah, completely static. Yeah, I mean, obviously to start, you have some kind of progression of levels. Yeah, vines from Donkey Kong. Just even grips on walls and whatnot. Makes sense. Did I cover all these? Yeah. I can get rid of these. There's some other good ones. Zero gravity or something, maybe. Oh, a smashable rock wall. Maybe if that plays in with the speed mechanic. Bouncy vine nets. I mean, that's maybe a little bit more challenging. Write that down though. How do you spell trampoline like that? I have to check myself so I don't embarrass myself. Yes. Wow. First try. I could do some kind of like damage, but there's no health in the game, but essentially like a knockback or like a force push or something. So you hit the thing and you bounce backwards and then you can't grab again for a while. There could be timed buttons. So like a timed wall. You have to press a button and then quickly get to the wall because it'll shut and you have to go back if you don't get there in time. Yeah, wait. What do you imagine flings you up? Is that the trampoline or the knockback stuff? Yeah, I get what you mean. Like damage boosting, like Mario touches the fire and goes flinging up. Yeah. Oh, I guess when Mario dies too. I mean, that's just like a straight up death. Yeah. When you get hit. I mean, there could even be projectile shooters. So, knockback. Let's just do like static. Ugh. Damage traps. And then we'll do like projectile. You could do platform shooters. So same thing. There's something shooting projectiles at you, but then there's something else shooting platforms. So you have to grab the platform as it's shot and it launches you with it as it's flying. That'd be cool. Or there could be hidden like fake walls. So you basically have to launch into them to find a shortcut. So you could like, because it's silhouetted, it's just all black, but maybe there's something in the environment that shows like, oh, maybe there's something here. And then if you go through it, suddenly it's like, oh, that is a secret. Like I can cut past this part, kind of speedrunning tech. Oh, like, I guess just spinning platforms. It's kind of a basic one. Start categorizing these by like simplicity. So the top ones are the simplest. So they're probably like the most necessary. Second row are a little bit more complicated. This kind of goes with throwables. And something like that, maybe. Zip lines. So simple, a little bit more complicated, but still relatively simple. And these are more complicated. Let's see, what else? There could be ice. And it's a pretty gimmicky one. So it's a wall that's covered in ice. So you grab it and you start to slide down. That's kind of the same as, well, it's similar to falling platforms. Maybe a little bit different. Because you slide in the direction that you were launching. Could be interesting. It's like ice platforms. And when I say platforms, I mean things you grab onto, not like actually on the ground. Well, actually, that's a little complicated because it's the joint is no longer like the joint has to move somehow. So ice platforms might not even be possible with that approach. Going to bed? Have a good night. Yeah, I'll, my progress is not going to be by 8 p.m. tomorrow or my time, 8 p.m. my time. No progress will have been made because I will have been at work all day. I'm going to work tomorrow. But starting tomorrow night, I'm actually going to start implementing this. And there we go. Did you try grappling hooks? I did mention it. Hello, Atash. Yeah, I sort of have this one thing, sort of like a grappling hook. Throwing objects. You could maybe like grab a rock and there's a string attached to the rock and you throw the rock like an actual grappling hook, not like a grappling hook gun. But yeah. Yes, good car ideas. I'll put that on there just for you. Yeah, that'll go down here. Yeah, so at this point, I guess I have all these. I was brainstorming a bunch of different game ideas. The one I kind of narrowed in on is this climbing game. Kind of aligns with the judge's expertise, regardless. Thinking of going with kind of a silhouette art style because it allows me to do very quick, easy vector art. So this music is such a bummer. Cavern, sad music. There we go. Yeah, so something simple like that I can actually reasonably do within a weekend. And then now I'm starting to brainstorm out the mechanics, various level mechanic ideas. Just kind of thinking through some of them. And after this, I'm going to split them up into different sections of a level and say, like, these are the basic ones. So they're going to go at the start and then slowly introduce more complex ones and then start to interweave them in interesting ways and try to do some of that idea mapping. And basically tomorrow after work is when I'll start doing real implementation. But today, mostly getting some planning done. I think it'd be kind of weird if I started implementing stuff and then had to take a break for a full day. I wouldn't really get that much done. So trying to get some planning. What other mechanics though? Maybe like I I have 0 gravity, but maybe there's like a heavy gravity, or maybe you have to go up a waterfall, but that kind of goes with moving platforms. I'm going to change falling to crumbling. Is that kind of, they're more like the donut blocks in Mario. You grab it, and then after a couple seconds, it falls. So you have to get off real quick. Tail grappling hook, potentially. So if you, there was this idea that maybe there's a tail, and maybe if you miss with your hands, you can grab the ledge or grab things with your tail. A swing with your tail, a tail grappling hook, but maybe. Yeah, did I miss anything up here? Yeah, because I want to play up some of the speedrun stuff. So that's why I like the fake wall shortcuts. Maybe there's some other things you can do with speedrun. I know, like, platform shooters. Maybe you can throw grappling hooks intelligently to get to higher places. Are there bananas? I do have bananas listed here. The thought of bananas is the bananas will just sit on some of the platforms, and if you touch them, then it immediately drops your grip and maybe prevents you from re-grabbing again for like a split second. So I was thinking either I could randomly spawn them just to like mess up your movement, so you have to kind of maneuver around them, or they would just be hard-coded at specific parts of the level, and you'd have to work around it by like either clearing the banana and then going back, or just be very quick about it and get through. Bananas are negative. They're banana peels. You gotta slip on the banana peels. I mean, how would you make them a positive? Monkeys love bananas? Well, sometimes what you love can be your own downfall. If you start putting bananas everywhere, then you start slipping on everything. I mean, how would you use bananas as a positive? I mean, maybe they're just like a collectible like Donkey Kong, but I don't know. I like the idea, like banana peels, slipping, making this difficult, tricky kind of platformer. I felt like they kind of went well together, like banana peels. Yeah. I'm listening. I'm just going to put waterfall here anyway. Two types of bananas, one banana. What does that mean? Slip and fall. Oh, one banana is slip and fall, another banana is a benefit. Better swinging. So it's like a timed buff sort of thing. Like you pick it up and for a limited time, you get maybe a faster rotation or a further jump with that. Or, yeah, I guess timed buff makes sense. It's farther or further? I don't even know. They have to keep an eye out so they don't slip on the banana, but they get the buff. Yeah, that could be good. So, wait, let's see. Yeah, that goes about this row. I'm trying to sort them by complexity. So the top row are the easiest. Second row are still very reasonable, but a little bit more complicated. And then these are kind of more stretchy goals. What? Okay. I'm guessing, is that a copy pasta? But yes. Keen eye for bananas. So that you know what you're looking for. Like, don't trip on those bananas, but you get the good ones. I mean, honestly, I would probably just color them differently. So, maybe like bright yellow, golden bananas are like, those are the ones that give you the buff. And then there's kind of like the rotten brown banana peels that are kind of old. Those are the ones you slip on. Something like that. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of some more mechanics. What else could I do? Yeah, the color and form. I think leaning on color a lot will help with the silhouettes. I mean, this is like very colorful, but when you have the solid color backgrounds and the silhouettes, obviously Donkey Kong, they did the pop with the character, and I'll probably just make the character a different color. But I wanted things that, so like the background's obviously just desaturated, darker, and then the foreground I would have colored objects that are the things that are grabbable would be colored, so that you would know very clearly what is the solid wall that you cannot get through and what is something that's grabbable. And then pickups could obviously be very bright saturated color. New mechanics, second monkey. I mean, you mean like another monkey that just follows you, or like it's just in the world and it's bumping you and you fall off and die? Or do you mean like a second life where if you die, then you get a second monkey? Because programming an entire AI for another monkey is maybe a bit much. Although maybe not so bad, but it just like rotates towards you and jumps or something. Could be tough. I guess I could put that down here in the Atesh difficult mechanics category. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking like, you know, your typical button. I mean, I have timed wall with button. So I could do just a button that opens a regular door. How do players complete the game? I assume it's just, so I was going with a jump king approach. So the idea was you just reach the end. And so it starts with very simple mechanics and then slowly introduces more, makes them more difficult over time. But, yeah, so the path winds back on itself. Oops. And I was going to maybe add checkpoints for more casual players. So if you wanted to, you could toggle it from the menu. And that way, if you fall, it just kills you and then restarts you on the screen or a little bit further back. Whereas, like, the hardcore players, the people who actually like Jump King, can play it like that. But yeah, the idea is you just climb up and reach the end. Although I did realize that, like, a lot of this is horizontal. So climbing up maybe it gets a little bit tough to represent in backgrounds. I mean, sure, you can do like forest, mountains, clouds, stuff like that. But then I was thinking like, oh, it'd be cool if you went through a factory part and then there was like sci-fi part or space theme. But if it's just going up, it makes it a little bit harder. But then Jump King kind of just is like, we don't care. Like, the aesthetic doesn't really make sense. The sewers are like above the tree line in Jump King. So maybe people don't care. Space Monkey? Indeed. Actually, I mean, my previous game... Oh, not that. Branch Buds, this game, it's basically already like a climbing game where you start in the trees and you climb up to the mountains and then you get up to the clouds and then you get to space. And when you're in space, there's like low gravity. I actually don't think there was low gravity, but it was definitely like ambient audio, stuff like that. So this game does kind of feel a bit similar. I mean, it's not so much about like stamina-based climbing and things like that. This is more platformer. But yeah, it's a similar game to this. Okay. More about these. Which I'll just call this falling platforms. The bad banana, yeah. A bird that moves bananas. Trying to think. So a bird comes in and moves it. Is it like a set piece? It moves it to a specific spot? Or is it just completely random? Put that here. Trying to think if you had a bird that moved the bananas. Yeah, it's like a set piece. So like you go for the banana, and when you hit the trigger volume, it basically says bird comes in, grabs banana, and moves it. So it's like moving the goalpost. There probably could be more set pieces as well, because like if this is being played on stream and in front of an audience, it'd be cool to like program in some cool set pieces. It's like the first time you see this thing, it happens, like something happens. You know, I could even do that with the crumbling platforms. Crumbling platform like set piece, and that's a separate one. The idea there is it doesn't respawn. And so the first time you see it, you grab it and it crumbles and you fall. And then you try to go back, like when you make it back to that location, it's already crumbled. And so it's gone. And it's just kind of like a cool little set piece. Bird could be the same thing. There could even be like a little part where when you enter an area, of just a whole flock of birds flies out, or like bats or something, fly out from a cave. And then that kind of indicates that like there are bats here. There could also be a dark section. Like a low visibility section. So just a vignette closes in really closely on the player. And so you can't see too far ahead, but if you memorize the level layout, then you could get through it very quickly. But otherwise, like, you kind of have to take it slow, so you might lose some time speedrunning. Could be cool. Also thinking, how do you smash smashable walls? Yeah, so the pitch was like there's two ways. One is maybe there's a way that you can like increase your speed, and so you go through it fast enough, it'll smash. But then the other is you can grab objects and throw them. So that goes well with throwable objects. So maybe you have to grab a rock, and maybe you grip the rock in one hand. So easy, like first thing, you grab the rock, you rotate, you throw it, maybe you hit a target or hit a wall and break it, and you go through. And then a future expansion of that mechanic is you grab the rock far away from the wall, and now you only have one hand to get to the wall. So it kind of limits your movement a little bit. So you have to like grab it with the right hand and then just keep jumping with the left hand over and over, and then throw. Yeah, through things by rotating. That is exactly how it works, yeah. So if you grab a rock that is like that you can pick up, and say your left hand is on a platform, you'll continue to rotate while holding the rock. And then if you let go of the rock, it'll throw it like where you're actively looking. And maybe that rock will have physics, so it has a nice arc to it. Yeah. And so like if you grab the rock with your left hand and you hop to the right, just using your right arm, then you could throw the rock and break the wall to be able to advance. It doesn't even really have to be smashable walls. It could be like a target and a door. Yeah, things that piggyback rotation. I mean, I know King of Swing, the Donkey Kong game, they had these cranks, but I don't really think it's that interesting of a mechanic where you like grab and pull back. So you like rotate forward, grab, and then it rotates back, and then you release, and then it rotates forward, and you can like go and crank the thing. It's equivalent to a button though, so that's why I just put buttons. A platform that you have to keep rotating. Oh yeah, continue to move. So like almost like it's a wheel or something. So like say there's a wheel, or maybe not a wheel, but like I get what you're saying. Like you have to continue to rotating to match the rotation. Almost like, so there's a wall and it starts to fall down and you have to get to the end and get off of it before, sort of thing. A large animal or something. Match the rotation. Yeah, like, or I was thinking it was like you had to go the opposite of the rotation. So it's rotating, like there's a wheel that's going forward and you have to like very quickly climb against the rotation to keep going. Or maybe there's another thing where you are the weight. Like that could be another thing. There's a wheel on a track and if you grab the right side, it pulls it forward. Like, cause it rotates forward. So you have to continue to like pull forward and rotate and then it goes. That kind of plays with the rotation and the physics stuff. I'll put that down. I have spinning platforms, but I can do like wheels. Yeah, the counterweight. I guess there could also be like gliders, right? Now we're getting into Zelda, like Tears of the Kingdom Zelda physics. So you have to like grab one side to steer left or right. Ramps. I mean, ramps would have to be with physics environment items. Like my goal is so that you as the player don't really touch the ground or like walk on the ground. Yeah, you've been playing Zelda. Everyone's been playing Zelda. But yeah, I wouldn't want ramps to be that the player walks on ramps. I would want it to be like there's a wheel that you have to like pull down a hill and then it rolls down, down, down. And then maybe a speedrunner can like use that somehow to launch, or otherwise it'll just like hit the ground, hit the end, and then you can just kind of climb off and keep going. Yeah, thinking about these, there's a lot that's out of scope. In terms of all of this in one weekend, it's probably not in scope, but it'd be cool to pick the best ones and think about it. The ground is the ground. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean, but what I mean is I don't want you to like land and then stop moving. I like the idea that you're grabbing things and going. And of course, like, yeah, there can be little stop gaps you just like chill on, just if you want to take a break and rest. But I don't want a lot of walking on the ground. I want it to mostly be like, your steady state is just like you grip with both hands and you're standing, like you're just gripping a platform. Yeah, when I say platform on all these, like moving platform, falling platform, all these, what I mean is like you're gripping onto the wall from behind, like the camera's showing you from behind and you're gripping it. That's what I mean by a platform. Ooh. Oh, the Sonic ramp where you need momentum. Oh, I see what you mean. But it would have to be kind of like playing with the wheels, I guess. So like the wheels are the ones that have the physics with the environment. Something. Could make sense. Sounds a little challenging. The monkey is the wheel. But does that just mean like you touch the ground and you roll like Sonic? Because I mean, at that point, it's implementing a whole set of mechanics that wasn't accounted for in the default character mover. Like the core mechanic of the game is like gripping and rotating. So I just want to like try to come up with things that play into that. Sonic loops works if you're playing with wheels. Like if you had, yeah, Danky King. Like if you grip the wheel and then you had to rotate the wheel faster, 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 so that it goes. I mean, you are spinning, but it's like a slow rotation. Is more. You're kind of rotating like you grip and then you're the one causing yourself to rotate. Is this what I mean? I mean, this is a pretty comprehensive list, I think. Oh, electricity. I mean, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, there's two things there. One is like you have to grip the 2 points. The other is potentially like you have to move an object to another location. Like you can actually pick up the wire and then plug it into the other spot. This is pretty simple. Like that. And then something down there. Made the board. Yeah. It's getting there. I think it's a pretty good list. I'm going to keep thinking about it a little bit. Because it'll be hard to start adding. Like if I were to take these and start arranging them out into... Well, I guess I can start doing that. Oops, what the... I want to lock this. Okay, cool. Okay, so if I took these... and I start trying to align them out into sections of the level... Gotta make a new panel. This or a frame. Yeah. Oh, it just goes there. That's weird. I think I just created a frame and then it's stuck behind something. Oh well. I thought I could just draw. Oh, weird. Whatever. Yeah, so I'm gonna make a big just example of a map potentially. And blind myself with late mode. Okay. So start to finish, we got some stuff like some static platforms, moving platforms, you know, like a mix of static and moving platforms. Got a new idea? Catapult? That'd be pretty cool. I have I had what, platform shooters. But yeah, catapult would be cool. I can add that. Oh, yeah, hold 2 points to build tension. That's a little bit tougher, but if you could just like you grab the object and it pulls back and then launches you. Yeah, like how would you grab the 2 points to build tension? Because they'd have to already be kind of close together. Hmm. Oh, one is moving. I mean, if you oh, I see. Like, yeah. Combine it with a moving platform. Hmm. Yeah. That's cool. So then this is more like a spring. Yeah, that'd be cool. Put that here. Oh wait, this is definitely not that. Wheels. Okay. Okay, maybe I'll split this into a new row. Something like that. Throwable objects should maybe be up here. Or here. You gotta go? Okay, yeah, I'll talk to you later. Hopefully, yeah, feel free to check back throughout the weekend, see how it goes, or check back at the end. I'll definitely send you a copy and let you play. Yeah, it was good talking to you. Thanks for the ideas. Yeah, gonna have a speedrun monkey party. See see who gets the best score. Monkey brain. Okay. Yeah, that goes down there, I think. Okay, that's more reasonable, I think. So we got static and moving platforms. Oh, also just obvious disappearing platforms. Yeah, so to introduce crumbling platforms, it would make sense if there was like, I guess I could, let's see. General flow here. Like maybe go, because I'd like to go up and down. I don't know. It's like obviously, maybe it should be more vertical than horizontal. Have it here listed out as mostly being horizontal. Yeah, so what I'm doing now is I'm trying to think about how do I do I gotta think. Like if I just did it, you know, here's the start and here's the finish. And you just like climb straight up. Then the entire game would have to be vertical. You know, maybe you have like a little bit of back and forth. But mostly it's just vertical climbing. So what I would like is more of a, you know, snake-like pattern. So you have potential to, you know, have gaps in the floor that cause you to fall back down at certain points. But the problem with this is here you're not losing very much progress, but then here you're losing a ton of progress and you have to get past this part again. Maybe that's fine. I mean, that's kind of what Jump King does. You know, you can have save points here. So like falling here would just kind of stop at a floor, essentially. But then here, slightly more punishing. It's just, this is like incredibly punishing if you fall here. So maybe we're liberal with how we do our loopbacks. So we did, you know, get used to the idea of falling. Start. I mean, you could either get used to the idea of falling from the start or start a little bit flatter. If you start a bit flatter, then you can introduce them to the mechanic. Oh yeah, I guess that's pretty good. Because you never really fall all the way back to the start. So it could start flat. You're just going horizontal. And then once it starts going up, it never really loops back to the left. So this is like the true tutorial area. From here, it only goes right. So then we introduce you to falling. So it goes straight up for a while. Then you reach a bit of a floor. This allows you to be safe from falling. You think you're good. And so we have a really tricky part where we go up and you're at a floor. Actually, you know what? Maybe we should like staircase it a little bit. So if you go like, you're safe, something like this. So that way, tutorial, then introducing you to falling. You reach a safe floor, tough part, but you're safe. Reach another tough part, but you're safe. And then that's when we loop back over. Because here, when you fall, it's the most punishing. That makes sense. Actually, that was right. So a little bit of a floor here, and then it loops back over this. Okay, let me jot some notes. This is the first real challenge. You know, a little bit of difficulty. Something like that. Yeah, and then here's the first real challenge is this little spike. And then we'll go with a more challenge, no risk. On the flat part. And then this is a second challenge, maybe? Or, you know, third challenge. This is more challenge with risk. Oops. This should be, I guess, here. Yeah. So then the idea is, you know, moderate, like tame challenge. Or just not too challenging, large risk. Yeah, and then maybe here is like challenge spike with the largest risk. We just keep you there for a little while before we loop back to the right. Yeah. And then maybe we do similar things. So yeah, and then I guess moderate challenge here as well. Text. Yeah. So moderate challenge again. The idea is here we have whatever. Moderate difficulty. Yeah. Moderate difficulty, moderate challenge, whatever. So the idea here is now that you kind of hit this moderate challenge, if you fall, you'll hit a floor. But you have to hit this challenge, which has a potential fall risk. And that's the largest challenge spike in the game. Basically the spot where everyone will quit. And of course, we'll put a checkpoint there for casual players who just want to see the game. Yeah, so the question here now is how far back do we want to go? Because I think looping back over things for too long is not very enjoyable. So I have to do some tricks here. So maybe... because obviously if I just stop looping back in, I'll eventually just get smaller, smaller, smaller until I reach the top. But I want to have some horizontal stuff. And I guess at some point we kind of want a... I wonder. Could I hypothetically make it like go all the way over here and then up and then loop back like that? I mean, then you're just losing an insane amount of progress, which is not good. Yeah, if you went over here, so this is a hard floor, you can't fall down. So this is like a checkpoint, basically, a very safe checkpoint. I mean, the cool thing about Jump King is that your safest checkpoint, I mean, there's like one very late in the game that is a hard floor, but otherwise, like most of the game just is not hard checkpoints. Like it's pretty standard. Or like, what I mean is you could fall anywhere and always fall back to the beginning if you make a mistake. So to add hard floors like this, maybe a little too easy, and then to say like, oh, and then you actually just fall back, it's kind of lame. So I don't really like that very much. But I could say, you know, this, oops. Maybe this goes farther to the right and then never quite loops back there again. And so it is just a hard checkpoint, but it allows us to do these kind of spirals. So you're never really falling too far. something like that, potentially. Cool, cool. Let's see. So that's one idea. The alternate is like, if I just kind of go like this and just keep going back and forth over it, I reach the end. Two versions. Huh. Well, okay. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to call it for the night. I'm going to, take a break. I'll think about it a little bit more. Try to come up with like the final list of, or really just kind of, like I said before, I have to go to work tomorrow. This is a 72-hour game jam. Looking at the time, it says there's 69 hours left. Right above my head, top of the screen. And so I'm going to be at work all day tomorrow. I couldn't take off. I'm too busy. So I'll be resuming when I get home from work around like dinner time. And I'll be picking up where I left off. I think part of it is finalizing the set of mechanics that I want to use, laying them out, finalizing the kind of flow. It doesn't have to be final, but generally laying out the mechanics that I want onto this, to figure out which ones are super important and try to finalize those ideas. And then actually just hit the code and start writing code, start building the character controller, start experimenting with some background art. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you join me tomorrow and check in through the rest of the weekend. Also, once the game is up, it'll be playable by everybody, and I'll make a trailer for it as well. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I hope enjoy your Friday or wherever. Enjoy your evening if it's nighttime where you are, and I'll catch you tomorrow.